Hello, everybody, and welcome to the GTHub podcast. We are exactly on time because we're professional this week. But joining me for this Rolex 24 special preview is once again Joshua Jones commentary,
Hello.
Roblo97,
Hi.
and once again Sith.
Hello.
And with introductions out of the way, we will move swiftly on to the event that's been happening for the last 2 weeks, I want to say? Yeah, it was 2 weeks, actually. Not I want to say, it was 2 weeks. Which was the Dakar Rally.
Yep.
Jolly
And has anyone been watching it or watched it?
No, but I know the results.
good. How
Well,
does
yeah,
one actually watch the Dakar? Because surely it goes on over such a long period of time.
Highlights.
Yeah,
There's-
highlights, but
Yeah, there's a lot of helicopter footage. A lot of the highlights they obviously catch team.
That's, yeah, pretty much how you watch the Dakar. It's just daily highlights.
Yeah, similar to WRC, I guess.
Yeah.
Amazingly how that doesn't work, but yeah, somehow.
you see, that's one of the reasons I don't follow any sort of rallying. It just doesn't give the same kind of... It's not the same kind of viewing experience as circuit racing.
Wow, that's open debate. Anyway, on to the
anyway.
But yeah,
results of the Dakar.
Of course.
But to the overall results, and we'll start with the motorcycle class, which was won once again by KTM after looking likely that they weren't going to win their 17th straight win. With the quiet Austrian of Matthias Wagner taking the win.
His first win, I believe, for the Dakar. He was
Yes,
second
first win.
last year. Unfortunately, he had to retire a couple of years before that.
Well, retirement and overall leaders in this year's race is a pattern that was all too unfamiliar, considering KTM was going to lose the race before, what was his name? He was the last remaining Yamaha rider. I'm drawing a blank, can't remember his name, but anyway. He was leading before the 10th stage, where he blew out an overall lead of over 39 minutes and pretty much ruined the bike class, Mr. Wagner. Yes. But second was the Argentinian Kevin Benavides on a Honda, and third was Toby Price on the other Red Bull KTM bike. And oh, surprisingly, the American didn't finish in the top 10 overall. That's disappointing. Damn you, Braybrek. In quads, it was... Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I heard that KTM had been a bit dominant in that class.
They won the last, 17, 18 in a row.
Wow. Wow, that's quite astonishing.
Yeah, this year they were looking like they were going to lose, but somehow Yamaha and Honda snatched defeat from the jaws of victory at the very, very end. In quads, it was Ignacio Casale over Nicolas Cavliazo and Jeremias Gonzalez. So it was an all South American podium there. In quads. In cars, it was once again Peugeot in their final factory efforts, claiming the overall. Oh, where did it go? God damn it, why are there so many car categories? Which one is it? There it is. I never knew how many car categories there were until I just looked right now. Jesus.
How many
Anyway.
classes are there?
Well, there's subclasses in a class. There's T1, T2, and T3
Right, which are those?
in cars.
They've got different vehicle rankings.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm afraid I don't know off the top of my head what the various Dakar rankings are.
Okay, I find the right ones now. Thank you. overall, it was once again, like I mentioned, Team Peugeot Total with their Peugeot 3008 DKR Maxi, with the number 303 of Carlos Sainz and Lucas Cruz taking their second Dakar title.
Was that the overall victory as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Good old Carlos Sainz, still going.
The real Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, well, the original, yeah. Still going very, very strongly.
Not that his son isn't a real person.
No, but he is Carlos Sainz Jr., not Carlos Sainz. There's only
you mean
one
he's the
Carlos
he's
Sainz,
the
and
original,
that's his father. Yes, that's what I meant.
I'd actually argue that his son's a better driver, but ignore that.
Maybe actually no. Carlos Sainz is pretty
when
good.
his son has 26 WRC victories, then we'll see.
And 2 Dakar wins, but you know.
Yeah.
Yes, but moving on.
Moving.
Second was a Toyota Gazoo Racing Hilux of Nasser Al-Attiyah and Mathieu Baminel. Third was Janelle de Villiers and Dirk van Zitzwitz, and another Toyota Gazoo Racing Hilux. Monsieur Dakar was fourth, which is Stefan Peterhansel and Jean-Paul Cotteret. And the only other Team Peugeot Total Peugeot that was in the top 10. There was a surprising number of really good privateers, though, in this year's category. Being one Mr. Peter Van Merkstein of Le Mans fame, who finished 8th overall. And WRC driver Martin Prokop was 7th in his privateer F-150 overall. Side-by-sides. Do I need to do side-by-sides? No, because no one's ever heard of side-by-sides.
I have.
Well, they're a new class for this year, and I have no idea who any of them are.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, huge name. Fortunately, there probably are if you're into it.
If I look, there's probably like 10. Let me see here.
Well, I had a friend who has one, but
I was wrong. Apparently, there was only 6 side-by-sides.
Jolly good.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's amazing. Smallest class, but they all finished somehow. Amazing.
Very reliable beasts they are.
I guess, yeah, or attrition just didn't strike them that badly. But in the big bad truck class, it was once again the Russians of the Kamaz Master Team and Eduard Nikolaev, Evgeny Yakovlev, Yakovlev and Vladimir Rabakov winning. Second was Sergei Vyazovic, Pavel Harinin, Andrei Zukhalin in a Maz, whatever a Maz is, some Eastern European truck I've never heard of. Third was another Kamaz Master truck, Irat Mardiev, Adar Believ, and Dmitry Sutsnitov. The leading other truck was in fourth, and that was Arthur Ardavicius, Sergei Bronkins, and Michael Huisman, or Heisman, or however, yeah, Huisman. Yes, and that was the Dakar results. Heisman, is he related to Patrick Heisman of Porsche Super Cup fame, or no?
I wouldn't know.
Just wondering aloud. None of you have to actually answer that question. I was just wondering.
Now, would that be the would those be the big kind of square, very boxy, very tall trucks that look like a refrigerator?
Yes, the large, many tons, sort of the size of your average fire engine trucks. Yes, the biggies.
that looks like that sounds about right. Yeah. To be honest, I don't know how they don't just tip over when you steer a tiny bit. I mean, they're so top heavy, surely.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's still the case, but when I was younger, many decades ago.
Those many decades.
Yeah. When cars had a man running in front of the red flag. No. Several years ago, the trucks, the large trucks, used to have the highest fatality rate on Dakar.
Whew.
Purely
Now,
because, yeah, if it runs into something, there's so much weight behind you, and they're prone to rolling and turning on fire. They seem to be for several years in a row.
now, I wouldn't have expected proper fatalities from something such as that, because after all, you do have a lot of protection around the driver. So, while it would be prone to rolling over, it is very, very large, and large vehicles tend to be safer.
Unfortunately, these things weigh sort of upwards of 10 or 11 tons, if not much more than that. So the weight on the cabin is massively increased. Safety has come a long way in
Well, it
the
is interesting
intervening
that you say
years.
that, though, because there's two different designs of trucks as well. There isn't the there's the traditional boxy one, and then there's the ever so brilliantly named torpedo style. That's like
Yes.
kind of how the American trucks look, with the cab behind the engine.
There's cab overs, is the traditional old school style that we're
I
thinking.
think those look better actually because they're just like this giant tower building on wheels, just kind of lumbering over things.
Anyway, whilst we digress.
I was also unaware of how fluent I was in Russian, by the way, but I'm just good at pronouncing names, apparently.
Jolly good.
Well, I'm just answering something in the chat.
Cool.
Yes, but moving past that, do you have any news items you want to bring up?
Now, there was one thing that I mentioned briefly before we started that caught my eye, and that's that there was some sort of legal issue to do with a quad biker and Carlos Sainz, and that all appears to be a big mess. What was that all about?
I wish I could tell you, but I've no idea, because honestly, anyone who tells you that they have any idea of what that's about is lying, because no one has the faintest idea.
Yeah, so my understanding is that Carlos Sainz is facing investigation. A Dutch quad biker claims that Sainz hit his quad and carried on, which is against the rules, of course. I believe it's been cleared up already. I could be wrong. A rumour I saw going around was that they'd got video footage of the quad. And Sainz was not actually involved.
Was there an incident?
My understanding is that the quad biker had an incident all by himself.
And he decided to blame it on someone else just for the fun of it?
I don't know. I can only assume that maybe he mistook that Peugeot for another car. I have no idea. I don't know. It's just a weird...
Well, if he had it all by himself, then that's completely different.
Like I said, I didn't see any footage of it, so I don't know what
haven't seen the footage myself. We're only going off rumour as well as other people.
Yes.
I have evidence to submit.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Oh.
We have a witness.
It's legal evidence.
Ah,
Yes.
Autosport, yes.
Yes. Peugeot called the decision incomprehensible and actually handed in some telemetry to the Dakar organisers from the car's onboard telemetry recording system. And as a result, the 10-minute penalty which Sainz had been handed was rescinded, but they did give formal advice to crew 303 to take extra care while overtaking other competitors.
Okay, so you got a warning.
Well, that resolves that
That's
situation.
just in case, yeah.
I wonder, the bigger issue, though, is the pending legal case after the rally. But, yes.
I tell you what,
Yeah.
though, if it's found that he had an accident all by himself and decided to randomly blame it on someone else, that's really not going to look good for him, is it? So,
Yeah.
Yes.
if I was him and that is indeed the case, I would very much just drop it now to avoid myself the complete embarrassment of it, but we'll see.
So, yeah, to be fair, we don't know the full story yet. We just know that the officials have said, no, he didn't hit him, but have issued a warning, but we don't know.
But we don't know anything other than that, so yes.
Anyway.
It's a really strange situation, rather for everyone
Yeah.
involved. But yes,
I
oh
have a
dear,
news
I seem to
story.
have misplaced my entry here. Oh, where did it go? Yes, go on while I find it again.
And whilst Forza finds his entry sheet, Gordon Shedden is not going to be in the British touring cars this season. Reports
If Gordon Shedden is not a British touring car, is it a British touring cars championship?
I don't know, but the Belgian media have rumoured him to be driving alongside one Mr. Jean-Carl Vernet at WRT in WTCR.
Oh, he very much will be. I have no doubt about that.
Did you just say WRT entering TCR?
Oh, not WRT, no.
The Leopard-sponsored Golfs, I believe, were run by WRT or something like that.
Well, whoever they are, Leopard Racing. I'm sure that if they're there, Gordon Shedden will be. If you remember at the end of the TCR International Series, which is basically now WTCR, at the end of 2017, Shedden did have an outing at Dubai, I believe, with the TCR car, and well, stuck it on pole on his debut. So Shedden will have had the taste of TCR now, and to be honest, it seemed like he enjoyed it. So he'll be back for more. Also, if he's not in the BTCC, that very much hints that he's going to be doing something else, because Shedden's not ready to give up yet, from what I've seen. Well, really, TCR seems like the ideal place for him.
Yep, and I've just found an interesting little fact online about the upcoming Rolex 24 and one team who are not participating.
Would that be Change Racing?
Ferrari.
Nope, TRG.
What
Okay,
about
that was a
TRG?
They are going to be missing their first Rolex 24 in 22 years.
Oh gosh.
That's longer than I've been
that's
alive.
not really surprising,
that's not hard.
considering.
I didn't know GRT had been around for that long.
TRG, the racers group.
Oh, so you didn't say GRT?
No, not Grasser.
In fairness, TRG, longtime Porsche specialist, now doing whatever car they can get their hands on, it seems.
Former overall winners.
In 2003 with a Porsche, yes. But in fairness, that was the best car, because the Proto Turtles were just slow as hell that year.
Well, seeing as we're discussing the Rolex, shall we?
But hang on. But why are they not showing up?
I don't know. I've literally just seen it on
Oh, okay.
Twitter.
Thanks for that
Yeah. So
update without any information. Thank you very much. Very helpful. Is there more or is there not more? I'm on pins and needles
just reading the article on racer.com, and there's no direct reason. Oh, hold on. Kevin Buckler said, and I quote, "It's tough for me after 22 straight years of going," he told Racer. "With the high cost and significant manufacturer involvement, I didn't want to put a deal together just to be there just for the sake of being there. If there wasn't a reasonable chance to win, I don't want our brand to be field fillers. That's the number 2 reason. The number 1 reason is I've waited 15 years for my winery to break loose, and I'm in the middle of building a dynamic project, a winery/entertainment complex in my hometown of Petaluma, right on the riverfront. For myself, my wife, and our partners, we have a chance to do something at Epic, and the only way to do it is to go all in. If you go all in at Daytona, and it sucks your brain out for 3 months getting everything ready," end quote.
Right. Okay. In fairness, on that point, Petaluma does deserve something because it's very small and there's nothing there really. First of all. Secondly, he already is a field filler, so that's absolute nonsense what he says about being a field filler. So anyone who knows IMSA will say, yeah, TRG just sort of shows up to make the numbers. They're not going to win. Unless, of course, you had the lineup with the wonderful Aston Martin with Christina Nilsson and James Davison. But other than that really special year 3 years ago, then no. They've been just filling the field. But moving to the Rolex 24 coverage, we shall preview one of the races, which is the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge BMW Endurance Challenge at Daytona.
4
which
hours.
is on Friday. Yes, the 4-hour race, I should mention. Featuring full-blown GT4 cars, TCR cars, and the wonderful IMSA Special ST cars.
Yes, it is also worth pointing out that JDC's Audi is not on the entry list after the accident at the Raw, and of course we all wish Michael Johnson a very speedy recovery.
Yes.
I wasn't actually aware that there'd been an accident at the Raw.
We mentioned
remember,
it.
it was the testing accident that we mentioned.
I don't remember you mentioning an accident.
Anyway.
We did.
Okay.
We did. It was during the Dubai coverage. But yes, going to the entry list, which is primarily the 30-car entry in GS.
It's pretty special.
Whoa,
it is
what
pretty
kind of class is
special
that?
considering-
GS, is that GT4 or?
GS is the Grand Sport class, which is all TCR, all GT4 cars this year. Full spec GT4.
Jolly good.
Yes. So we have a 30-car entry list for the race on Friday, which is very odd considering we thought GS was dead for the last couple of years, and here it's roaring back to life.
Yeah.
Where it literally is the entire field.
How many cars are there in classes that aren't GS?
TCR, there are 7. And in ST, there are 6. So literally the entire field.
Yeah, basically the entire field are from GS.
Which is fantastic, really. Oh, my goodness. But yes, moving to the only class that matters, really, which is GS class.
Yes. Oh, yep. There are actually some pretty big names in this as well. Just having a quick scan through. Of course, we got in the number 18 Porsche Cayman of RS1, everyone's favourite driver, TBC.
Of course.
No, see, on the entry I have, it's TBD, TBD, TBD,
Ah.
TBD, 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 TBD.
Yeah, TBD's his twin, and he's never really been quite as good. You know, he's always kind of been a field filler.
Yes. Apparently it's the TBD family fielding that entry.
Very good family, good racing dynasty there.
Yes, but moving to the actual entries. We start with the very special number 3, Windward Racing HGP Motorsport Mercedes-AMG GT4, which is being fielded by, or being driven by Craig Lyons and Chris Wilson. HGP this year being a full season effort in IMSA for the first time.
Jolly good.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Sorry.
so the main IMSA series, or?
No, sorry. The Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge.
Okay, I was thinking that would be
Seeing as
interesting.
they field AMGs, if they had the opportunity, I'm sure they would explore the main series in the future.
Oh, certainly. HTP gets everywhere.
If there's a factory deal to be done, they will be there. The second entry is the number 4 of Ted Giovannis, Guy Cosmo, and Owen Trinkler in the Team TGM Mercedes-AMG GT4.
Oh.
And the pairing of Guy Cosmo and Owen Trinkler is a very special one indeed. Yes.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Those who don't know, Owen Trinkler was the co-driver for Sarah Catania in the very lovely pink and black
Ultima.
CRG I Do Borrow Nissan Altima in the ST class for the past couple of seasons.
And a very good commentator as well for IMSA Radio.
Yes, very well commentary from Mr. Trinkler there, yes. So apparently the thing is, being a commentator on the radio will get you a drive.
Oh, works every time.
Yep.
I guess there's only so many times you can criticize someone's driving on the radio before they say, okay, if you think you're so good, you try it.
Yeah, that's entirely what I'm planning to
Not
do.
much to it, yes. Oh, that's funny though. But moving to the first Porsche that's on the list, and that is Joe Robillard and Stephen McAleer of Body Motion Racing, Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport MR, which is the longest name for a GT4 car. Stephen McAleer this year going a separate ways from his usual teammate Chad McCumbee, who we will see later on in this entry. Yes. And a very interesting entry, McCumbee's in, yes. But that's probably a good entry. Body Motion know how to win races, so we'll see how they do there. The number 7 of Alan
Brynjolfsson.
There we go. The name I could never say to save my life. And one Mr. Trent Hindman for this season.
I mean, if Brynjolfsson can keep the car on the grey bit, then yeah, I think they should be in with it.
Well, it shouldn't be too hard to do, considering he's in a bright fluorescent yellow Ford Mustang GT4 for the everly wonderful named Volt Racing.
It does stand out on the spotter's guide.
It's a very pretty car, yes. That Mustang looks really good, I have to say.
Yeah, of course, I was going to say, because you've actually seen that car in person, and neither of us have.
Actually, I didn't see it in person, sadly. I didn't go to the Continental Tire race. It didn't work out last season. But this year, I will definitely be making my best to see it, because this class of GT4 cars is just something to behold, really. But going to the second Mustang that's on the entry, and that is the number 8 of Chad McCumbee, and one Patrick Gallagher, who will be driving for Multimatic Motorsports and a Ford Mustang GT4. And this is the entry that I say is interesting because McCumbee and Gallagher are ones that stand out for being Mazda drivers. And they're driving for Multimatic, which is a partner for Mazda's involvement in IMSA. So it's an interesting kind of partnership going on for this drive to happen. Oh wow, there's GMG Audis. Wow, that's how stacked this field is. First time I'm seeing this entry list, actually. There are 2 GMG Racing Audi R8 LMSs, the number 13 and 14. One Cameron Lawrence strikes me as being a standout entry for the 13. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Rick Parfitt Jr., he's a British GT driver, no?
Yes, he's the defending GT3 class champion.
Okay, so he is in the number 13 Audi R8 LMS GT4.
I think it was because he won one of the Whelan Awards.
Oh, did they get a drive in this?
Yeah, so the main prize, which we'll come on to later, is a drive in prototype in the Rolex 24, whereas the other trophy competition thing is for a drive in the BMW Endurance Challenge.
Trophy competition thing.
It's not like I'm going for the full-on, the race for the chase, for the quest, for the cup, for the thing. And actually, there is a third GMG Audi as well.
Yes, well, we'll get onto that entry later. And not being biased or anything, but that's the one I'm going to keep my eye on, because it's just an exciting lineup.
Oh, yes.
I'm just going to say that now, but yes. The 14 has George Kurtz, James Sofronis, team patriarch of the GMG squad, and one Andrew Davis. And the most interesting entry, probably in Continental Tire, is the all-Ford performance lineup for Multimatic and their Ford Mustang GT4, being Scott Maxwell, Cole Custer, and Ty Majeski.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 1 or 2 of those gentlemen are racing in NASCAR, I believe?
Well, there's actually 2 Ford performance entries in for this race. The second being the
22, I believe.
22 of Austin Cindric and Chase Briscoe. Now, Custer, Majeski, Cindric, and Briscoe, they're all Ford performance drivers, and Ford have put them in the this race for this weekend to get road racing experience for their NASCAR programs. And some of them are actually doing multiple programs for Ford in multiple disciplines to get experience while they're not racing in the Unity series or in the Truck series. So it's a very cool program for them this year. But yeah, the only one who have actual experience in those cars would be Austin Cindric, of course, because he drives anything with wheels.
And we'll be mentioning him later as well.
And the Big Show, yeah.
Yeah.
And Scott Maxwell, who is the longtime Multimatic driver.
Of course, won a couple of championships with Billy Johnson before the rules got changed, effectively banning Billy Johnson from entering.
Effectively banning Billy Johnson from being a driver anywhere, actually. But yes.
Yes.
Which is a shame, because he's awesome.
Yeah, every time he's been representing Ford at Le Mans, he's actually been right on the pace of some world famous drivers.
Which is another thing, really. He should be the American in the European entry, as far as I'm concerned.
He should be in WEC.
Yeah.
That's how good Billy Johnson is.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he should be one of the full-time WEC drivers, but whatever. I'm not Ford. Anyway, skipping the number 19, Stephen Cameron Racing Mercedes, because no one of note is in that entry.
You wait till it wins it now.
Well, knowing how I'm stupid and don't know anything, it wouldn't be a surprise, really. But moving to the number 28, Dylan McIvern and Spencer Pumpelly, the defending GS class champions. RS1, the Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport MR.
Manti Racing.
Yes. The second Windward Racing HGP Motorsport Mercedes AMG GT4 with one Russell Ward and Damien Faulkner, everyone's favorite Irishman. Or not.
Oh, he is definitely one of my favourite Irishmen.
There we go. I was expecting a small cheer, but nothing happened. The Murrays are back in the number 38 BGB Motorsports Cayman GT4 Club Sport MR.
Shouldn't they be playing tennis?
Not those Murrays.
Okay.
These are spelled differently, and they're also from Georgia. There's James Cox, David Murray, and Dylan Murray. Here's an interesting one as well. The number 39 Carbon Motorsports Audi LMS GT4. Mark Siegel, Tyler McQuarrie, and Jeff Westfall. And I believe this entry is being fielded by one Mr. Steve Dinan of Dinan Motorsports and Engines fame. Yeah, in other words, the guy who does tuned BMWs. To those of you who know things.
Great.
Now,
well, I don't.
Now, yes, well...
I think I had heard of them before, vaguely.
Dinan do the tuned BMWs. They did the engines for the BMW DP program for a very, very long time.
Ooh.
Yes, so they know their stuff. Next is the second TGM Mercedes AMG GT4 of Hugh Plum and Owen Trinkler. So
going to be a busy lads during the race then, two cars.
Most sweaty man for the week, yes.
Well, one foot in one foot in the other. What's the problem?
Sorry, say again?
I said, 1 foot in one foot in the other. What's the problem there?
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, go on. Martin Brundle once came first and second in a World Sports Car Championship race at Monza.
He did,
in a Group C Jaguar.
Yes, but like I mentioned earlier, we'll get to the number 50 GMG Racing Audi LMS, which is, I'm really happy to say, has Ashley Freiberg in it.
Yes!
Yay!
And it's about time she got a drive, because she's just awesomely fast, and she deserves a ride. Now, hopefully it's for the full season. But her co-driver is I think someone I recognize from the Dubai 24-hour.
Yes, it is.
Gosia Redes.
Oh, Gosia Rodest, yes.
Who have no idea
IDTT,
who that is.
And she's
IDTT
bloody
Cup
quick
a
as
few years
well.
ago.
Oh, is it an all-female entry?
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like it.
Oh, okay. I had no idea. I must admit I've never seen Redest's name other than on Dubai, so I didn't know who they were. In fairness.
Yeah, she
But,
did
oh,
the
that's really cool.
IDTT Cup a few years ago. And I think she's done some GT racing as well.
Okay. Fair enough. An interesting addition is the 56, which this year, for those who've been watching Continental Tire Challenge, know that's the number usually reserved for the Murillo Racing team with Jeff Mosing and Eric Foss. And this season they are in GS with a Mercedes AMG GT4. Yes. So they're going for the overall title this season. Again, because I think they did that last year with the Cayman? Or were they in a... No, they were in ST. Sorry, my bad. In a Cayman.
Yeah, because I think Mosing was involved in that really nasty accident at Watkins Glen in the Porsche Challenge Cup.
The man who has no luck at all when going for a title.
Wasn't half the field involved in that really nasty accident?
Seemingly so, yeah, but...
All you had to do was be there and you were involved in it.
I think only 3 people finished? Or no, only 3 people didn't get involved in that accident, but yeah.
Wow.
Jeff Mosing is the most cursed guy when going for a title, because the last two titles that he's been in contention for and should have won didn't win because he had injuries that prevented him from doing so. So if he can stay healthy and stay in contention, he can win a title this season.
You've cursed him now,
really
you know.
big caveat, yes. Oh, there's a third windward Mercedes that I just noticed. It has Bryce Ward and Indy Doncha in it.
Should be a quick driver pairing then.
Now we come into the 2 Ford Mustang GT4s from Ford Performance and Core Motorsports. The number 59 bearing the entry of Jack Roush Jr., Joey Atterbury, and Jade Buford. And the number 60 being a very, very welcome return for Nate Stacey and Kyle Marcelli.
Also doing double duty,
another very busy man this season, because apparently everyone's decided that they're just going to double up for entries for full seasons. But yes, there's a new entry in CTSC this season for DXDT Racing and their Mercedes-AMG GT4 for David Askew and Aaron Pavolito. And now we finally get to the McLarens. The first being the number 69 Motorsports in Action of Jesse Lazaire and Corey Fergus. The 72 is also a new entry for this season, with the first BMW M4 GT4 on the entry for Classic BMW and Vest Energy Group of Mike Vest, Jason Hart, and Toby Grahovic. The second McLaren GT4 for Compass Racing, and the number 76 Paul Holton and Matt Plum. There's another Mustang GT4 for AWA, which is also a new entry for Martin Barkey and Brett Sandberg in the number 80. BMW World Racing is another M4 GT4 for James Clay and a former American Olympian swimmer, I believe, and Tyler Cook in the number 82. The number 92, Mark Ramsey, Alexander Prema for Ramsey Racing in a Mercedes-AMG GT4.
Yeah, that's the one which I first saw and was like, oh, hello, that's a bit interesting.
No, I have no idea actually if the Ramsey cars are full season or not, because this is the first time I've seen them mentioned on an entry list. But
Although with
moving
Prema,
past that,
with Prema in the car, I'd expect them to be right at the sharp end in terms of pure pace.
yes, if they are in with if the Mercedes are strong, then the one to look out for will probably be the number 92. And very cool to see Aurora Strauss get a car or get a drive this season after being really stellar in her drives in the ST class. In the number 99 Automatic Racing Aston Martin Vantage GT4 for Stephen Phillips, Aurora Strauss, like I mentioned, and Al Carter, who probably will be the sneakiest car in the field, I can imagine. Because that car may be old, but it still has pace.
I was going to say, because my spotter's guide says that Tanner Witten is down in the 99.
That's interesting. There's only 3 drivers on this, so don't know which one's right. And also in the second automatic racing, it is the 09 for Rob Epklin Jr. I apologize, but this is going to be read out wrong. Ramin Abdul Wahabi. I think that's how you say that.
Abdul Wahabi.
There you go. And Brandon Kidd. And that is the GS class. All 30 GT4 cars in the Cornell Tire Race. Of note, there's 7 TCRs, all of which are Volkswagen Audi Group cars. And literally all of them are Audis besides one Golf. And ST is
half minis.
Two Caymans, 3 minis, and 1 BMW. Meaning Mini will probably win in their final season for ST this season. Because next year it's phased out in favor of 2 classes, that being TCR and GS. But yes, that is a look at the BMW Endurance Challenge for Friday.
Good.
All right.
That's going to be one that I haven't caught before, but I probably should catch. Sounds good.
And that's one which I should catch, but probably won't be catching, because I'll be in the pub.
In other words, you could catch it, but you'd rather be drinking.
Which day is this on?
Friday.
Friday. Yeah, that's okay. I can make that.
I've no idea what time it is on UK time. I apologize, but my time being the correct time, since it's in the US.
Until other teams based off, until other time zones based off GMT.
Yes, but it's taking place in America, therefore it's American time. So, on that basis, my time on the West Coast, it's due to start on IMSA TV 9:50 a.m. So no idea what time that is GMT.
It's 8-hour time difference.
Just do the math and post it somewhere.
Okay,
I can't be bothered.
I'll sort that all out closer to the time. So.
Yes, but that is the entry done for that one. And let me bring up the gigantic list here. That is the Rolex 24 at Daytona.
And what an entry list.
Yes, to make things easier, can I just point out that we should read it out by team, so that way we can get the multiples done in order, because it's probably easier that way.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Did you want me to also mention the driver gradings of the various drivers as well?
Oh God, please don't, because the last thing I need in my life is driver gradings, because I have a feeling you're going to mention BOP, and I want to kill myself already.
I haven't even got the BOP list up, so...
I think we've had enough driver ratings from the Christmas special, you know?
Yes, I'm still reeling from that horrible... Still haven't recovered, actually.
Goodness gracious.
I'm traumatized every time I see gold or platinum. Oh!
Even though it's silver and bronze you should be worried about.
I wish it was platinum. It would be a hell of a lot easier to guess. But yeah, moving to the entry. What is that noise? I've been ignoring it for the past couple of minutes. But
I know
now it's
exactly what
just
that noise is,
unbearable.
and it won't happen again. Sorry.
Okay, so it's Josh then.
Basically,
Excellent.
I'm sort of half-heartedly sim racing in the background. So,
Oh, okay. Well, could you crash a bit quieter? Thanks.
yeah, that was me
just
having
find a teammate to crash into.
Yeah,
that was me
crashing
having
your
a bit
teammate.
of an embarrassing spin. Yeah.
Oh,
I say
okay.
it won't happen again. I mean, I hope it won't happen again.
Now that we mention it, we're just going to hear a massive in the background.
Yeah. There you go.
Yes, but okay. How do you want to do this? Do you want to do it by number, or do you want to do it by? We'll do it by number.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, we'll do that then.
We'll do that. Okay, so we'll start with the 2 then.
Alright.
Which is the number 2 Tequila Patron ESM Nissan On-Roke DPI. Scott Sharp, Ryan Dial, and Olivia Pla.
Yes, absolutely no weak links in that driver lineup at
Apparently
all.
not. No. Sorry, that's.
What, did you hear it again?
It's, not... it's fine. Just ignore us.
Was that what you were like? I can go and play Minecraft or something peaceful like that if you like.
No, it's fine. I was just wondering what the noise was because it was just like, what the hell is he doing? But it's
So you did
totally
hear it
fine.
again, right? This is unprofessional of me. I'll finish this short stint here and then I'll go and carry on.
Yes, we'll carry on. We can tell you're hugely interested in what's happening. Yes.
Well, the thing is, I don't know anything about this series, so I know I'm not going to be any.
Now you know how I feel when you bring
help.
up single-seater series from Eastern European Championships.
So I've decided that if I'm not going to be a help, I'm going to be a hindrance instead.
Fair enough. Job done. You're doing that wonderfully.
Good, good.
Anyway, going back to what I was gonna say. Now I've lost complete train of thought. What was I doing?
We just mentioned the number 2.
Right. Okay, I was gonna mention the sister.
Did
car,
you just
which
call
is
me a
the
number 2?
22.
No, we're
If
referring to
you
car
were
number
black
2 on the
green.
end.
I'm
Yes.
joking. Carry on. Again, I'm being a hindrance.
The number 22 sister Tequila Patroni SM car of Johannes van Overbeck, one Mr. Pipo Durrani, and Niccolo Lapierre.
That's a good lineup.
And once again, no weak links in the driver lineup.
I say with this caveat is that if there's anyone that's going to challenge the dominance of the Cadillacs anywhere this season, it's going to be the Nissans because they were the only ones to win in DPI that weren't Cadillac, and to get the lineup that.
Did anyone else just not hear a word Forza was saying? Can anyone else?
He actually...
Oh, is that me?
So, yeah, and that's actually quite a good technique for, especially for endurance racing, as it means you lift off the throttle slightly due to the time delay, and in that, and
Learned something new today. Rob ever much the fountain of information that he is. Fantastic.
Okay, well, I don't know if the audience
Really?
actually
Sorry,
just
you were
heard
saying,
that
Josh?
or... I was just saying, I don't know if the audience actually heard that or not, because for the most part of it, I didn't. It was just completely robot for me, so...
What was robot?
Your conversation, then. I couldn't hear a word of it.
Oh dear. Did none of you seriously hear what we just said?
yeah, I heard it absolutely fine. Well, I've
Yeah.
probably got the worst internet of anyone.
Oh yeah, look at the chat.
hang
Yeah,
on, let me
everyone
see.
else heard it because of course it's me that's streaming it. So yeah, that might actually be why. I don't know how my internet's doing with streaming and talking at the same time, but okay.
So if
Seems
you
to be
guys
fine
didn't hear
now.
that, I apologize. But I'll mention it again, which was we were talking about the second Tequila Patroni SM car the number 22 of Johannes van Overbeek, Pipo Derani, and Nicolas Lapierre. And we were mentioning how that's a championship quality entry
Both of them are.
with the lineup, well, both the 2 and the 22, but it was a championship entry for Johannes van Overbeek and Pipo Derani for the full season. And if anyone can challenge the Cadillacs this season, it will be the Nissans if they can hold together. So there you go, job done. That was what we were saying.
Yes,
Yeah.
I very much agree.
Very caught up now. Now, to the 2 Action Express cars. The first one being the number 5.
The newly liveried number 5.
Very dull number 5. not being boring. I mean, just that its colors are literally dull. They are matte gray on the Cadillac.
Yeah, you're right.
But that would be the number 5 Mustang Sampling Racing Cadillac DPI VR of Felipe Albuquerque, Joao Barbosa, and Christian Fittipaldi.
I always find it very ironic that a team called Mustang Sampling runs a Cadillac.
Well, it's very American because there's no Ford, so of course it's a Cadillac.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yes, and it's also worth noting with the number 5 entry that Felipe Albuquerque is now being moved into full season drive alongside Barbosa as Fittipaldi steps down to the endurance races, and I believe he's now the sporting director?
For Action Express, correct, yes.
Yes. Right. And the second Action Express car, the Whelan Engineering backed entry, has a full season lineup of one Mr. Felipe Nasser and Eric Curran, rather.
Yes, it is Curran, not Curran.
Sorry, Eric Curran, and joined for the endurance races by none other than Mike Conway and
factory driver,
and British GT4 champion Stuart Middleton, who won the Sunoco Whelan Challenge.
Yes, so he gets a very nice drive in the number 31 Whelan Engineering Racing Cadillac DPI VR.
And the irony being that while he was on his way up through the junior formula to get to F1, Felipe Nasser took part in the Rolex 24 at Daytona, having won the very same prize and got 3rd overall.
It's very funny how well-rounded that happened, isn't it?
Yes.
It's all very roundabout. He went off, won it, went to Daytona, went to F1 for a bit, and then he's just like, I'm done with this F1 thing. I'm going to come back to Daytona.
Well, I think it was more that the F1 thing was done with him, but
I think you'll find it was more like his Brazilian Banco do Brasil money ran out.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And he's now actually got a chance to make a really nice career for himself. And I mean, he was the fastest of anyone at the Raw before they slowed the DPI VRs down a bit for the actual Rolex 24.
Well, you say that, but I suspect even with that anchor tied to the back of them, they're still going to run off and hide.
Then again, if last year was anything to go by, yeah, that is probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Even though they got rid of like half of their cylinders or actually half their displacement and put an anchor up back with an anvil attached to it and a parachute, it's still going to win probably.
Yes, down from a 6.2 litre to a 5.5 litre naturally aspirated V8.
Yes.
Oh, so it's minuscule now.
It's absolutely pitiful engine. Might as well be a 4-cylinder. It's absolutely garbage, that engine. Unbelievable garbage.
It's the kind of engine you'd find in an economy car, let's face it.
I know, let's face it. It's such appalling engines these days, honestly. They're not even trying.
And speaking of engines, the Acura
All in sarcasm, by the way.
Yeah,
of course.
And I was going to say, speaking of engines, the Acura ARX 05 DPIs run by Team Penske, featuring the engine, I believe, out of a Honda Odyssey minivan.
I know someone with a Honda Odyssey. Good car.
Sorry, say that again?
The Acura ARX05 DPIs run by none other than Team Penske. And I believe the engine, the block, is from a Honda
yes.
Odyssey minivan.
Well, actually, the two entries, the number 6 and 7,
Yes.
Acura Team Penske, and their ARX, or Acura ARX 05, because there's no DPI attached to the end of their name.
Yes.
Not being complete anorak about the title or anything, but yes, they are Acura ARX 05s. Not DPIs, ARX 05s is what they are. Get it? Got it. Good.
Yes.
The engine is actually, I think, the stock block from the Odyssey, like you mentioned, the MDX, the RDX, and I think the TLX.
I take your word for that.
I think it's also very, very similar to the engine that's in the NSX GT3 car, I think.
Ooh.
I think there's some... It's not quite the same one, but it's very, very similar, I think.
And it's a former overall Rolex 24 at Daytona winning engine as well, for none other than Michael Shank Racing. Or no, sorry, not Michael Shank, it was ESM.
No. Tequila Patron ESM. How can you forget the wonderful year that was Honda dominance in the final season for the Ligier JSP2?
Oh, yes, of course, and Durrani winning the 36 Hours of Florida, as I like to refer to it.
Well, the unofficial 36 Hours of Florida.
Yes.
Because now there is an actual 36 Hours of Florida. But more on that later. Yes. Well, I don't know if anyone signed up to do it, but...
Is it going to be a straight 36-hour race? Because that would be ridiculous.
No, Josh. It's the 24 hours of Daytona plus the 12 hours of Sebring.
Yeah, I knew that is referred to as the 36 hours of Florida, but the way you said it made it sound like there's going to be a completely different one now.
Well, since you're bringing it up now, I might as well talk about it now.
Okay,
but
go on.
The 36 Hours of Florida was, because I'm not sure if anyone's doing it, was a promotion by IMSA to entice teams from LMP2 teams from WEC or ELMS or Asian Le Mans or whatever, and from various GT3 teams that running in different series around the world, with pro AM drivers or AM lineups, to entice them to do Daytona and Sebring for a reduced tire bill and a reduced entry fee if they confirm to do both Daytona and Sebring. But I have no idea if anyone's signed up to do that, because I think the Joda entries, the Jackie Chan DCR Joda entries, and the United Autosports ones, I'm not sure they signed up to do that. So I don't know if anyone's confirmed to do the special deal, because you had to be a new team outside of the US to qualify for that. So
Okay.
that's what that is.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to say, because a 36-hour straight would be quite ridiculous.
Nothing. That's nothing. I know of 96-hour races.
Yeah, no,
There's no such thing.
Wasn't
there is in China.
Fair enough. Moving on.
And wasn't the first Le Mans 24-hour initially supposed to be a week?
And the French came to their senses and said, no, 24 hours is fine.
Les 24 du Mans. Anyways, yes, the...
Going to the number 6.
Yes.
Which is the first of the Acura Team Penske entries of Dane Cameron, who has abandoned the Cadillacs, Juan Pablo Montoya, and Simone Pagenaud. Yes. And the second Penske entry being the 7 of one Mr. Will He Won't He, but ended up being Will, Elio Castroneves.
Former Dancing with the Stars winner.
Do we have to mention that, honestly?
Really? Did he really?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes, it was one of his paltry things that everyone keeps remembering him for. I'm like, he's won 3 Indy 500s, people.
Wow, I never
really... The Indy 500 is a much better prize, I should add.
Oh, it's not a shiny disco ball, that's for one thing.
They call it a glitter ball, I believe. Or at least they do in
Whatever, it's a pointless, paltry prize. He's won 3 Indy 500s and won shiny Indianapolis 500 rings and won 3 baby Borg Warners. I'd rather
yes,
have
I was going to mention the baby Borg.
than anything else. But
What is
yes,
that?
Same here.
It's a tiny version of the giant Borg Warner trophy that you get for winning the Indianapolis 500. Because obviously there's
Is that
only
the name
one
for the Indy
Borg
500
Warner
trophy then?
Yes, it's the Borg Warner trophy.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Well, now you do. You will get learned in our American ways, sir.
I know that you drink milk when you win. Where did that come from?
Unless you're Emerson Fittipaldi.
Which is still appalling to this day, actually.
Well, what did he do?
He drank orange juice.
Juice. Yes.
Right, why?
In, like 90-degree weather, just going, really? You thought that was a good idea, but you didn't want milk? Okay. Bizarre, but alright.
Why did they drink milk in the first place? Where does that come
Because
from?
it's been a thing since the beginnings of the 500 that the drivers drank milk. I think it started with one of the drivers won and they drank milk, and since then it's just been a tradition done by the Indiana Milk Board, and every driver who's in the race gives their preference to what kind of milk they want in case they win.
Oh, so if you have, say, for example, you're lactose intolerant, you can actually specifically ask for lactose-free milk.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm sure they would oblige, but no one is lactose-free in that race. They're either full-fat, low-fat, or skim. But if you get skim milk, then you're disgusting.
I'm sure there was one driver who had to have something like dairy-free milk, some kind of milk alternative.
I'm just throwing this out there. If any of you know if that's happened, just please feel free to correct us in the chat or later on in the comments when this gets reposted. But I'm going back to the entry list. Thank you, Josh.
I'm not just lactose intolerant. I'm full-blown anaphylactic. So, yeah.
Is there anything that isn't wrong with you? But moving on.
Nope, definitely not. Right, carry on.
The number 7 of Elio Castroneves, Ricky Taylor, defending IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Champion, and Graham Rahal, Honda Specialist.
Indeed. And speaking of Ricky Taylor, the defending team's champions are next up. Konica Minolta Cadillac DPI VR for Wayne Taylor Racing. Yes, with
Let's call them Wayne Taylor Racing. That's what their name is. They're Wayne Taylor Racing.
Yes, with one Mr. Rodney Sandstorm.
Oh, that never will get old. Never.
It's brilliant.
I'm afraid I can't explain it to you. It's just something that you need to know exists. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
I love that video he posted of him training. I love the fact he played Fort Minor in that video.
Now I just have to see that stupid video again. But
I don't know what that is either. Now's the bit in the podcast where I just have to sit back and pretend I know what I'm talking about.
Anyway, for those of you that don't know, i.e. Josh, one Mr. Rodney Sandstorm is otherwise known as Jordan Taylor.
Or Fonzie's dad.
Okay.
Yes, or Fonzie's dad.
I don't get that either.
Fonzie is his dog that he loves so much.
Okay.
Honestly, you must check Jordan Taylor's social media feed. It's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
It's a brilliant goldmine of entertainment. But yes, Jordan Taylor is also defending IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Champion.
And Rolex 24 winner for that matter.
Yes, fair enough. I knew there was a reason I said Rolex. Well, actually, now that you say that, yes, he is defending both champion of the Rolex 24 and of the series. Ha! I've corrected it.
Oh. Yes, and joining him is one Mr. Renger van der Zande for the full season, the Dutchman who made the legendary overtake at the Corkscrew last year to win the race with 5 minutes to go. Arguably the best overtake.
The best overtake of the year. And easily. I can't remember if you guys voted that or not.
I'm still not entirely... No, I voted for Daniel Ricciardo's as per. I'm still not entirely sure... I'm still not entirely sure that
Yes, we
it
know
was
that
within
you
the
think
lines.
it's on dubious legal ground, but whatever.
Yes.
You
Either
weren't there
way,
to see
it
it
was-
in person. It was brilliant, and everyone loved it.
I mean,
It was.
the actual pass he
I mean,
could have
when-
done without going over the lines, but he did go over the
Come
lines.
on.
So
Come on. When Alex Zanardi congratulates
that was
you
the worst.
on doing it,
Alex Zanardi's move
you
was just.
are officially a
No,
legend.
I'm ignoring Josh
And
for the rest of
the-
the show. He is denigrating the pass.
It
The
doesn't
pass
count.
is brilliant. The pass is
Right.
biblical law in racing here in the States. You are wrong.
It doesn't count.
Wrong!
Garrett.
He's wrong.
Can I shut up, please? Can I quickly mention the third driver in the car for the endurance rounds?
So long as it's not Alex Zanardi. Talking
We
of
did
Alex
mention
Zanardi, he's got a
Van der
drive for
Zande.
next year.
Oh, fair enough. I was too busy seeing red rage in front of my eyes
Yes,
because
I
of Josh.
did mention because I mentioned the pass and the fact that he's now driving for arguably one of, if not the best team in North America.
Ooh, that's a strong statement. Yeah.
Oh, which do you mean?
Wayne Taylor Racing.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yes. And joining them for the endurance rounds is former IndyCar champion and former Indy 500 winner. In fact, the gentleman who actually had to skip a friend's wedding because his reason was he was winning the Indy 500. So just as well he actually did Indy 500 that year.
Wedding, Indy 500. I know which one I'd choose, yeah.
Yeah. It is, well, it can only be Ryan Hunter-Ray.
Good old RHR, yes.
Yes, who's also a bit of a dab hand at sports car racing as well. In fact, one year actually double dutied between IndyCar and IMSA at Long Beach. It was a couple of years back when Ryan DL was tied up to do WEC and was at Silverstone instead of Long Beach because you had the traditional clash between IMSA and IndyCar at Long Beach and WEC opener at Silverstone.
Oh, such a long time ago, yeah.
It was only a couple of years ago, in fairness.
It's a decade in my mind, as far as I'm concerned, yes.
And now, moving on, God.
You
Bar
have to
One
mention it, you know.
Motorsports. Yes, Bar One Motorsports with the Multimatic / Riley, although more Multimatic these days, Mark 30 P2 with Eric Lux, the former owner of the Lotus Grand Prix team, Mark Drumright, Alex Popov, the NASCAR driver Brendan Gaughan, and
I see you saving the best for last.
Yes, and the law unto himself, which is Tommy Dreesy. Oh, God.
Dearie me.
God help us, please.
I will say with a caveat that if this car is going to finish, which it probably will, because the law of averages dictates it has to be finishing.
I mean, I hear Gaughan's a pretty good driver as well, in fairness.
Brendan Gaughan's a fantastic driver. He's a good,
So's Popov.
safe pair of pants. But I was just about to mention, if the car has pace, it will be shown by both Eric Lux, or it will be shown by Eric Lux, Alex Popov, and Brendan Gaughan. Because Mark Drumright is a pure AM. Nothing against him, he's just an AM.
Lux is an AM as well, just a pretty good
he's
one.
a very, very handy AM.
Silver graded.
Yes. Well, everyone's silver besides Drumright and Dreesy.
Bronze, Dreesy's bronze, and you're right with Popov and Gaughan as well.
Yes.
Am I pronouncing his name correctly? Gaughan?
Yeah, Brendan Gaughan, yeah.
Alright, okay. Yeah, I was just wondering.
Gaughan is in the word gone, yeah. That's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah, alright. Alright, cheers.
Even though it's Gaughan, yeah, but...
Yes.
Yes, but moving to the first of the big international entries.
Yes, and the one which most of the international media are going to be drooling and fantasizing over, because, well, it is the only one they're going to be drooling and fantasizing over, quite frankly.
Well, unless you're in the know. You mean, no, let's clarify this. This will be the entry that the F1 media will be drooling over, not international media, because international media pretty much know.
Yeah, fair point.
Oh, and Spanish national media, of course. Spanish national media.
Yes.
Fair point, well made, beautifully presented.
Thank you.
Yes, it is the number 23, featuring the McLaren
Well,
Formula
hang
1
on,
teams.
hang on. It's the number 23, United Autosports, Ligier, JSP217, Gibson.
Yes.
Now go on.
Featuring the McLaren Formula 1 team's test driver, Lando Norris, the young British sports car driver, Phil Hanson, who looks like a very, very exciting talent for the future in sports car racing, given how young he is.
He's going to do well in the ELMS this season, I almost
Yes.
guarantee it.
And some Spanish bloke nobody's ever heard of.
Would that be one Mr. Fred Alonso?
I believe so, yes, Fernando Alonso. Like, he hasn't done much in his career, let's be honest. He's only a two-time
such a
Formula
slacker,
1 world champion. He's a stooge.
He's a total waste of space, that man, honestly. He doesn't know anything about driving a car.
He's the guy who could very, very easily win the Triple Crown.
He's an old man.
Sarcasm.
I know, I'm joking. I mean, I'm not joking. He could win the Triple Crown very easily.
I'm not convinced entirely that a WEC P2 is going to win overall, but...
No, it won't. No, it won't.
It won't. The Ligier, for a start, the Ligier JSP217 is inherently, due to the design of it, a slightly draggier car than the Oreca 07 LMP2, which, on the high banks of Daytona, is going to have a pretty big impact because the Orecas are going to be able to hit a higher terminal speed through the speed traps.
Yes, and unlike WEC, IMSA will not do the god-awful thing that is BOPing the P2 chassis.
I'm going to say that because Fernando Alonso, or despite the fact Fernando Alonso and Lando Norris, as well as the very quick Philip Hansen, are behind the wheel of that Ligier, it is a Ligier, and the Ligier is never going to match the Cadillac or the Nissan. So, to be honest...
The Ligier won the opening ELMS round at Silverstone.
Yes, but Cadillac wasn't racing.
You were... Yes. Well, let's be honest. The Cadillacs are just Delaras.
Yes, but only with very, very good powertrain.
No,
it's the same chassis.
And they also didn't have the fundamental design issue with the Delara chassis. So I think they could change that part.
Still, the Cadillac is dominant, and the Ligier, Alonso himself admitted, well, of course, used as an excuse that it just isn't quick enough, and that's why they were something like, was it 11th in the Raw?
He isn't gonna win the overall race, but then again, we say this on Tuesday before the weekend. For all we know, it could rain. It could be very well
actually
drive. They could be in with a shot. We don't know. But
exactly.
A lock probably for getting at least the top 2 or 3 WEC P2 in the race. That's probably for sure. Because United Autosports is no slouch when it comes to preparing a car. So
of course,
we don't know.
They aren't going to win it overall.
They're not going to win
the DPI class.
But they probably could be the best WEC P2 car in the field. Who knows?
And another interesting thing to point out is that the combined age of Lando Norris and Phil Hansen is only slightly older than Fernando Alonso's age.
Slightly older than me.
Oh, only slightly. just a bit slightly.
I mean, children these days driving racing cars. Says someone who's 20 years old.
Oh, that's an interesting bit of news that I'll mention at the end of the show. Okay, cool.
Ooh.
However, what I meant was that I think Alonso could very easily win the Triple Crown, which is, of course, Le Mans, the Monaco Grand Prix, which he's already done, and the Indy 500. All he needs is for his car not to break down the Indy 500 and to get a good LMP1 seat for Le Mans. And he'll do it.
Toyota.
Yeah, and he'll do it. He will.
I'm still convinced he's going to be in a full-time Toyota seat alongside his F1 duties, but yeah. Moving to the second.
Not this year. I reckon he will be next year.
You mean next season?
You mean next season, because it's 2018-19, yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's true. Well, to be honest, I can't...
The only race he would miss that was a WC race would be Fuji, because he'd be in Coda. But other than that, he could do it.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
and
I hadn't
kick out
thought about
Jose
that.
Maria Lopez. But moving on to the number 32 United Autosports Ligier, which has Will Owen, Hugo de Sadlier, Paul de Resta, and Bruno Senna.
Yeah,
That
that's
is another
very
very good lineup.
interesting lineup, because Bruno Senna, well, we don't need to really mention him too much in terms of his ability behind the wheel of a LMP2 car, let's be honest. Will Owen and Hugo de Sadlier, brilliantly fast in the European Le Mans series and learn very well from arguably one of the best in the business in Philippe Albuquerque. And you've got Paul de Resta as well, who's used to driving high downforce DTM cars, albeit not with as much downforce or power as an LMP2 car. So it is another strong lineup as well.
Certainly, 2 F1 drivers in that lineup.
Former.
Well, they're F1 drivers. If you're an F1 driver once, you're an F1 driver forever.
Former.
Yeah.
Yes,
but
it's like saying Oliver Gavin, for example, is an F1 driver because he tested for Pacific back in the
I was going to
No,
say, if
he was a test driver.
Anyone who's ever done an F1 is an F1 driver. Then, by that reasoning, Jan Magnussen is a F1 driver.
Yeah, he sort of is. Yeah, because yeah, he is. I mean, that's how I'd say it. I'd say if you start an F1 race, you're an F1 driver. But
okay, fair enough.
That
means
not like a
Lauder is a F1 driver as well.
Modern one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway,
the next team is Jackie Chan, DCR Jota, with a pair of Oreca LMP2 cars.
Jackie Chan DCR, actually, which is Jackie Chan DC Racing by Jota.
Or whatever they've called it this week.
Jackie Chan DC Racing Jota.
Jackie Chan DC Racing X Jota.
Yeah, there you go. I forgot the X. My bad.
Yes.
Oh, we're so stupid, I swear.
Yes, and once again, Lance Stroll is trying to keep the car on the grey bit this time. And
the worst driver in this lineup, I shall point out.
Stroll's actually really good. Did he? Was it
not amongst the company that is Felix Rosenqvist, Robin Frins, and Daniel Juncadella? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'd say that on a good day he's right up with all of them. Was it?
You had not seen his first Daytona 24 when he was driving.
No, I very much haven't.
Should have won, which was the Ganassi 4DP with Brendan Hartley, Alex Wirtz, and he crashed it twice.
I was about to ask whether it was actually him that crashed it, but obviously it apparently was. So
he crashed it twice, once in testing and once in the race.
Oh. Okay, well that's bad, but on a good day, he is as good as any other good racing driver, really.
That's why I say he's the weakest link in this lineup. So if he could keep it on the road, they have a good shot at placing well.
If he can keep it on the road, he's one of the quickest. But
no, all the team have to tell him is, you see the grey bit, keep the car on that, you'll be fine.
Oh, well, that doesn't always work with drivers, you know that.
That's true.
They're racing drivers, what do you expect?
Anyway, like I mentioned, Lance Stroll, he may or may not be the quickest driver. We don't know. All I know is...
Not the quickest, one of the quickest.
Of the lineup that has Felix Rosenqvist, Robin Frins, and Daniel Juncadella, my personal opinion is that he's the weakest link in that driver lineup. Having said that, I'm not saying he's a terrible pick, but he's, in my mind, the weakest of that lineup.
Well, we'll see.
But moving to the second Jackie Chan VCR Jota car.
Yes, that's got a very interesting lineup, actually. We've got Hopin Tung and Alex Brundle, both regular drivers. Yep, the Cookie Monster.
Where did you get that name from?
From Radio Le Mans.
Okay.
Yeah. Both regular WEC drivers for Jackie Chan DC Racing by Jota. And they will be joined by one Mr. Antonio Felix da Costa, And His
Oh,
Royal
God, here
and
we go.
Imperial Highness
Ah.
Ferdinand Zvonimir Maria Balfus Keith Michael Otto Antal Banham Leonard von Habsburg.
Brilliant.
Lothringen.
Fantastic.
It's much too long of a name. It's
Yes,
just
that's why he shortened
such a
it.
long name that it's literally squished into the entry list. I can't even read it.
It's such a long name that he's actually just shortened it to Ferdinand Habsburg, so...
To avoid paying for all the names on his passport, as you said previously.
Yes.
That's a good one. I like that, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. But they're in the second Orca for Jackie Chan DCR Joda. Moving to one of the other Orcas in the field, and that is the reigning and final Prototype Challenge champion of Performance Tech Motorsports.
Damn near undefeated as well.
If it wasn't for Bar 1. Boo! Ruining the perfect season. But
Yes.
that would be the lineup of James French, Pato O'Ward, Kyle Masson, and a surprise addition in still Mazda factory driver, Joel Miller.
Joel Miller, yes. I was going to say, because Joel Miller's not actually on the spotters guide at the moment, but yeah.
He
all
was a
three.
last minute addition because he
Yeah.
was testing with Bar 1, but that fell through.
Yes, and that is actually an incredibly strong driver lineup.
Yes, one among many, yes. Which is really something about this entry list. It's hard to find a weak link and you go, that's...
Bar 1, there you go, that's the weak link.
You're like, well, yeah. And you would just go, well, maybe. I don't know. I just don't know. Yes. But they're moving up to prototype, and they're doing very well.
Full season
now,
entry as well.
yes, for James French and Kyle Masson. Pato Award going back to the Mazda Road to Indy.
But we'll be doing the endurance races, I believe? Or is Joel Miller doing the endurance race?
I don't know who their third driver is for the endurance races. I don't know if they've announced that yet.
Ah, right, okay.
But I would assume it'd be Award. If not, it was someone else.
Yeah.
Yes, but moving to the second longest name on this entry list, which is my local hometown team, I am proud to say.
Oh, wow.
The number 52, AFS PR1 Matheson Motorsports, Ligier JSP 217 Gibson.
Team Columbia!
Yay! Hashtag Colombian Rocket, yeah. That would be, of course, Sebastian Saavedra. One Mr. Yak Attack, Gustavo Yakaman.
He has calmed down a bit since his wild Grand Am days, I should point out.
Yes, but still, fantastic driver. Gustavo Yakaman. LMP2 WEC champion, Roberto Gonzalez.
From RGR by Moran, I believe?
RGR Sport by Moran, yes.
That's the one. Of course,
and
one in
Nicholas Boole.
Who I think raced a couple of times for PR1 last season in prototype.
Now that I look at it, I think Bull is the endurance driver for Performance Tech. Now that I look at it again, I believe.
That should be.
Because he was a Performance Tech driver. Now that it jogs my memory, yes.
Yes, he's a silver, and Saavedra and Yakaman are both gold. Gonzalez is also a silver.
And I didn't need to mention that, but yes.
Gonzalez is no slouch behind the wheel himself. Forget.
Well, no, he's a WEC P2 driver, like I mentioned, or a WEC P2 champion. Yes, but now to the first of the Mazda Team Yost entries.
You've missed one. Car 54, Core Autosport.
Oh, see, I'm so sorry to the Core guys. The number 54 Core Autosport Oracle 7 Gibsons. John Bennett, Colin Braun, Mr. WEC champion Romain Dumas, and WEC champion Loic Duval.
Yes, with Dumas down for the full North American Endurance Cup, and John Bennett and Colin Brown full season drivers in. Let's let's not be about the bush here. They struggled like crazy in the 911 GT3R and GTD last season.
That wasn't down to the car, that wasn't down to the team. That was down to the car.
Yeah,
Yes.
but the prototype cars, I think, suit John Bennett's style as a driver more than what the GT car did.
Well, it certainly suits Colin Brown a damn suit better than a GT car. Let's just put that out there.
Yes, because Colin Brown in a prototype is quick.
Yeah, lest we forget, Colin Brown is the world record holder for the fastest speed at Daytona in a detuned Ford EcoBoost DP.
Wasn't detuned, it was tuned up. I think they tuned it up to about 800.
Sorry, wrong terminology. I meant unrestricted is what I meant to say. Sorry, my bad.
I think it was still slightly restricted because I read an article on, I believe it was Super Street. I think they may have done that, but I think they may have kept the boost at race levels because I think with the boost turned up a bit, I read on Super Street that they were actually getting the best part of 1,000 brake out of the twin turbo V6.
Yeah, and people say, "Oh, the GT doesn't deserve a V6 in it because it's horrible." Okay, whatever you say.
Yeah, right. Let's face it. It was one heck of a drive from Braun.
Yes, but his style suits a prototype better because, well, he's just fast in prototype.
And as for Romain Dumas and Loic Duval, just about won pretty much everything there is to win in sports car racing.
Romain Dumas and Loic Duval, WEC champions, Le Mans champions, Romain Dumas, Pikes Peak champion. What more do you need to be said about this entry, really? I know. The fact that John Bennett, for an AM driver, is bloody quick as well. Yes, but like I mentioned earlier, in my overzealousness, we got to the two. You can't tell these are my favorite entries, can you? The two Mazda Team Yost, Mazda RT24Ps. The number 55 being the lovely Soul Red Crystal, Jonathan Bomarito, Harry Ticknell, and Spencer Piggott. Harry Ticknell also being a full-time Ford WEC driver as well. And full-time IMSA as well, let's not forget. Full-time driver with Jonathan Bomarito. That's a strong car. Because Piggott's got IndyCar duties this year. Yes, of course. He's also their endurance driver. And the number 77 of Oliver Jarvis, Tristan Nunez, and Rene Rast. Also the Soul Red Crystal, I should point out. Yes. No more gunmetal gray, sadly. Very, very, very good-looking car. The best-looking car. Yes. I may be a bit biased, yes. Yeah. And run by a team that's won just about everything there is to win in sports car racing. Not biased. No. Yeah. Yeah, if the car works, as long as it works better than it did last year, which I believe it will do. It already is massively better than last year. Yes. They've already solved all their cooling problems, so as long as it stays cool, they'll be perfectly fine. Yes, and they will be grenading quite a few less engines this year. Those little 2-litre inline four turbos. Now that you said that, I demand you knock on wood, honestly. Okay. There you go. Job done. May have hit that a little bit too hard, but never mind. Yes, the idiocy of Rob, yes. Yes, this is... I should explain, I once actually cursed a car during a Continental Tyre Series race last year before the race had even started, because it conked out on the warm-up lap. Yeah, it sounds like you. But then again, I'm a journalist. I should be able to do the commentator's curse properly.
I'm developing mine. I tell you what, I'm developing mine. Throughout the whole of the last season. It's surprising
you are numpty of the year, so.
Absolutely. Yes. Throughout the whole of the last season's Formula 1 season, I caused about 5 accidents. The first one being at the very first round in qualifying.
You were driving online?
What's that?
Are you sure it's not because you weren't driving the car online?
No, but...
right, just clarifying that first, okay?
No, the first one was at the first round in qualifying, where we were watching Daniel Ricciardo, and the order was a bit muddled up. And I said,
"Oh yes, JDC."
Okay, I'll tell you the story later.
Okay. You please do.
You can tell us after the podcast. Please do.
Yes.
Yeah, this is funny for the podcast.
Well, end of the podcast then.
I think I've said it before. Anyway, carry on.
First of the JDC Miller Motorsports entries, which is the number 85 banana
The new
boat.
banana boat.
Oh yes, the newly reliveried banana boat.
We'll explain why later.
So yes, of Orica 07 Gibson, of Simon Trummer, Robert Alon, Devlin DiFrancesco, and Austin Cindric.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent lineup. Hopefully Robert Alon keeps it on the track a little bit more often than he did the Lexus.
In Robert Alon's defense, he's not a terrible driver.
I know,
he just
but
wasn't suited to GT cars.
Yeah, and he did have that
and in
epic
fairness,
brain fade at Long Beach on the last lap.
In fairness, that was his only mistake the whole season.
But if you're going to make a
mistake,
mistake,
Mr. Sage Karam.
Yes, and I was going to say, if you're going to make a mistake,
do it at Long Beach. Yeah.
Do it at Long Beach at the final hairpin, and in turn completely screw over the entire GTLM result.
Yeah, if you're going to make a mistake, go big or go home, man. Honestly.
Go hard or go home. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
How one should live one's life. Boom!
But yes, he's in the newly reliveried banana boat, Oracle 07 Gibson. And those of you who are wondering why we're calling it the banana boat, it's because it's bright yellow.
Yes.
What more needs to be said about that, really?
Properly bright yellow.
Yes. I like the car myself. But
same here.
Moving to the really, 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 really important JDC Miller car.
Oh, yes.
Which used to be the old banana boat, but for reasons that are going to become clear in a moment, is the number 99 Gainsco Auto Insurance
Red Dragon
Orica 07 Gibson, which will now be called the Red Dragon. Of Chris Miller, Steven Simpson, Misha Goikberg, and Gustavo Menendez. Now
that's
that
a pretty
entry
epic
is
lineup.
seriously stacked, honestly. That is a stacked entry.
I mean, given that Simpson and Goikberg damn near beat the Cadillacs on numerous occasions.
Should have won 2 races last season.
I know, should have won at Watkins Glen, should have won at Mosport.
I remember that cracking battle I believe they had at Mosport, in fact, which was it was the
lost out in the final 5 minutes. Yes.
Yeah, the yellow car versus the Cadillacs, and that was rather entertaining. Probably the best race of the year, in my opinion.
It was a cracker of a race, and
I think that one race alone is what convinced me I should be watching IMSA full time this year.
Well, Josh, you have your chance this coming Saturday to join the IMSA faithful.
Oh, certainly. I will.
Oh, yes.
Yes, but like I mentioned, the number 99 used to be the 85, which used to be the banana boat, but now the 85 is the other second car for this season. That one's the banana boat. This one's the Red Dragon, because it's got Gainsco backing. And
so
for
good
years
to see them back.
Yes, it's really good to see them back in IMSA, where they belong. Because they were a long-time Grand Am team.
Champions as well, I think.
With Alex Gurney and John Fogarty, and had many illustrious drivers in their Gainsco team. Jimmy Johnson, Memo Gidley, Jimmy Vassar. Yeah, everyone has driven for them at some point. And they're back on a prototype where they belong. I mean, they were fine on GT cars, but a Red Dragon needs to be a prototype. Let's face it. But this season, it's super exciting to see them back.
Yeah.
It's
Good to see them home.
Getting to the final prototype entry. It is the final Cadillac DPI VR of newly renamed / old name Spirit of Daytona Racing.
The team formerly known as Spirit of Florida Racing.
No, the team formerly known as Spirit of Daytona Racing.
Oh, fair point. Well made.
Or if you want to be so inclined, Sod Racing.
Sod Racing, that's brilliant.
Well, it's SOD, so Sod Racing.
That's
Stick
good,
an A in there, and you've got System of a Down Racing.
Yeah,
that would be
soda,
sewed.
actually. Well, you said System of a Down.
Yeah, that would be sewed, I think.
Seriously, cool band.
Sod. So yeah, never mind. I'm not going to hurt my brain.
Yeah.
But it is the number 90 for Matthew McMurray. Tristan Vautier, who moves over from the Sun Energy 1 car. And not sure what to think of this guy, but Eddie Cheever III.
Oh, he's okay. He's done 24-hour series races and done okay. He's not one of the quickest, but
I know nothing about him other than that he's Eddie Cheever's son. But yeah.
Yes. And Vautier and McMurray are quick drivers. I mean, McMurray's also the youngest driver both to start and finish Le Mans.
Or is he? Like I mentioned
as we mentioned last week, yes, that might be under threat in the next year or two. So, yes, one to keep an eye on.
Yes, but now we come to the GT Le Mans category. And we start with the Corvette Racing Corvette C7Rs of the number 3 of Jan Magnussen, Antonio Garcia, and Mike Rockefeller. The number 4 of Oliver Gavin, Tommy Milner, and Marcel Fassler.
I mean,
no slouches in that lineup.
There's no slouches really in any of the GTLM cars. I mean, this is not the class where you will find a weak link in the driver lineup of any of the cars.
One apart, but yes.
Oh, I'll be intrigued to see which one you do pick apart.
We'll see later. I mean that Westbrook guy is he doesn't know what he's doing, does he? I mean, honestly. But yes, going to the second team here. Luckily, on the entry list, the GTLM teams know how to group them. They're all properly grouped by team, really. The number 24 and 25 of BMW Team RLL, and the brand new race debuting, shiny new BMW M8 GTEs of Jesse Krohn, John Edwards, Nick Katzberg, and Augusto Farfus. And the 25 has Alexander Sims, Connor DeFilippi, Bill Oberlin, and Philip Eng.
A couple of things I'd quite like to mention here. One, I still think Oberlin should have been in a full season car either in IMSA or WEC. And secondly, as of when we're recording this, which is the 23rd of January, BMW still haven't released their liveries yet. The livery releases tomorrow on the 24th.
Well, 24th is proper rollout day and team picture day, so yes. Probably be a variation of BMW M stripes. But all I know is if they don't want to put a livery on it, that's fine with me because it looks spectacular in bare carbon.
Oh.
Just put some lacquer over it, job done. Boom.
Yeah, it looks unbelievably good.
Yeah, but
then again, any race car looks unbelievably good in bare carbon fiber.
I don't know. There's some horrible looking ones that are made of carbon. But yes, Connor DeFilippi being upgraded to the full-time drive. Great welcome news for him from being an Audi factory driver, or junior Audi factory driver, I should say.
Yes. It was
He's
funny.
now a BMW North America factory driver.
Yes, it was funny because I think when Lands Motorsport entered last year and he drove for them, he said that if he was in his home country and yet the language he was speaking most of the time was German. Because he's been living and racing in Germany for a German team for so long.
Yeah, he's fluent in German, so he'll get along with the Germans quite fine.
Yes, so should be no communication issues between him and Philip Eng then.
No, not at all. But we go to the lone Ferrari in GTLM, which is the number 62 Risi Competizione Ferrari 488 GTE of the all-factory driver lineup of Tony Vilander, Alessandro Pierguidi, James Collado, and Davide Rigon.
Yes, and if Vilander had been replaced with Sam Bird, it would literally be Ferrari's entire WEC lineup in the car. Interesting to see that Fisichella's been dropped. I think he'll be focused
There's some more to that, because I suspect he's either in Blancpain or he's not a Ferrari factory driver any longer.
I think
because there have been rumors he's been poached by someone for other manufacturers.
Oh.
Unless those have died down. but I was reading somewhere that he was being
Ooh,
trying to be wooed away. But yeah.
that's interesting.
Oh, I could be speaking complete garbage, which is totally normal.
Well, it's normal for me as well, in fairness, let's be honest.
Yes. But moving to the second Americans, that is the Ford Chip Ganassi Racing, Ford GT.
New livery?
Very pretty metallic livery of... I don't know the names off the top of my head, but they are stock road car colors that are on the livery.
I was going to say, given that it's using the colours which one can get on one's road car from the dealer, they look awesome.
I can't remember them, so I'm not going to try. But yeah, they were all road car colors on the GTs. But it's the number 66 of Joey Hand, Dirk Muller, and Sebastian Bourdais, defending Rolex 24 GTLM champions. And the number 67 of Brian Briscoe, some guy named Richard Westbrook. And one Mr. Wins Everything he turns up in, Scott Dixon.
Yes, Scott Dixon, the only driver who I've ever heard of who can actually produce his own petroleum.
Yes, he's very magical, that man, yes. he's the opposite of the Midas touch. He has the petroleum touch, yes.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yes, but
actually,
Richard Westbrook is a very accomplished guy. I'm just making fun of him because Marshall Pruitt makes fun of him on his podcast. So anyone who listens knows the joke of that.
Yes, and now we're coming up to the cars which Sif would no doubt want to see win the most.
Would that be the mid-engine that isn't a mid-engine Porsche?
The Porsche GT team, Porsche 911 RSRs, run by Core Autosport for Porsche North America.
No. They are Porsche GT team.
Oh. Ooh.
Yes, because Porsche, being very Germanic, says, we will be German and be very boring. We shall call ourselves the Porsche GT team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that is good.
Yes. But
and now watch as Penta corrects my German. Probably.
I hope he does. The number 911 of Patrick Pile, Nick Tandy, and Fredrik Makavicki. And the 912 of Lawrence Fanthor, Earl Bamber, and Gian-Maria Brudni. Yes. The WEC champions have returned to IMSA, where they belong.
Yes. And now we come to the absolute minefield, which is GTD. Just as well I've got the entry list up here so I can actually...
The biggest entry in the field at 21. Just barely squeaked by one to beat the prototypes, yes.
Yes. I can also point out who the AM drivers either are or allegedly are.
No, we don't have time for all that.
Okay.
So what we will do is just mention the entries, but we won't mention all of them because there are some that don't bear mentioning.
Yes.
We'll first start with Penta's first team, obviously, because they are numerically first, which is
of course
the GRT Grasser Racing Team, Lamborghini Huracan GT3s of Ralph Eichen, Mirko Bortolotti, Frank Pereira, and Rick Breukers in the number 11. And in the number 19 is the pairing of Max van Splunteren, Ezekiel Perez-Compang, Christian Engelhardt, Christopher Lenz, and Louis Machels. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
I believe so, yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I have no idea. But yes, I know which one of those lineups I have my eyes on, and it's definitely not the second car. Just saying that right now. Just saying that.
Yes, that is one phenomenally stacked lineup in the number 11, and it's one of the most phenomenally stacked lineups in the class. I say one of them. Will probably come to one of the others or two of the others later on. Yes,
the second team to mention is the 3GT Racing Lexus RCF GT3s, which are the number 14 and number 15 of Dominic Baumann, Kyle Marcelli, Philip Framenweiler, and Bruno Junquera.
Good to see Bruno back.
That is a strong lineup.
Well, Dominic Baumann full season, along with Kyle Marcelli in the 14. So,
Philip Fromenvilas won several races in the GT Open as well.
for Lexus, yep.
For Lexus, yeah.
The second Lexus is Jack Hawksworth. Some guy named David Heimeyer Hansen.
Hi to my family at home.
Another, yes, Mr. Hi to my family at home, Scott Pruitt, and Dominic Fongbacher, yes. So the Lexuses are showing up full steam, and they're going to be gunning for the win. Yes. The number 29, Monteplast by Land Motorsport, Audi R8 LMS, which is full season this year, being run by Starworks, which is why they have the pinup lady on the side of the Audi. Is Sheldon van der Linde, Kelvin van der Linde, Jeffrey Schmidt, and Christopher Mies.
Another stacked lineup.
Another stacked lineup. The first of the Mercedes-AMG Team Riley Motorsports cars. Actually,
Yes.
no, I think it's the only one now that I look at it. So forget my statement.
I believe
Yeah,
so,
it's the only
yes.
Mercedes-AMG Team Riley Motorsports. Mercedes-AMG GT3. There.
Yeah. Driving that car will be Ben Keating, Adam Christodoulou, Lucas Stoltz, and some bloke called Jeroen Bleekmolen.
Odds on probably favorite there for the win. You can never count out your own Bleekmolen in anything.
Just give him something that has wheels, and like Felix Rosenqvist, well, that's as quick as that car's ever going to go, let's be honest.
However, the number 44, Magnus Racing, Audi R8 LMS.
Magnus Racing Live.
Yes, Magnus Racing. Live stream, for those that don't know. Watch that, because it'll be funny.
Oh, brilliant.
The 44 of John Potter. One Mr. Andy Lally, Andrew Davis, another double-duty driver, and Marcus Winkelhock will probably be having the last laugh at the end of 24 hours, because they've done it twice before.
And neither of those wins featured a possum.
No. Well, one of them had a possum injured, but...
yes. Ironically, Andy Lally being a vegan
again,
as well.
The number 48, Bryce Miller. Oh, no, sorry, I'm reading this completely wrong. Paul Miller Racing, yes. The Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini Huracan GT3 of Brian Sellers, Madison Snow, Andrea Caldarelli, and Bryce Miller.
Yes, Caldarelli, I think, might not be in Super GT this year.
No idea. But
So Rosenqvist has been testing the Wacos car.
Oh, you know stuff I don't know.
I've seen the photos of it on Twitter.
Okay, well.
Someone clearly had a very, very good zoom lens.
Like I said, well, you've seen it, so yes. But the interesting GTD car is the number 51 Spirit of Race Ferrari 488 GT3 of what normally would be an all-factory Aston Martin lineup, but they're in a Ferrari here, of Paul Dallalana, Pedro Lamy, Matthias Lauda, and Daniel Serra. So, take with that you will, I've no idea.
Although, having said that, Lamy and Serra sharing a car. Expect fireworks.
Daniel Serra is also a factory Dunlop tire tester, so yes. His last outing with those guys, I assume.
That's another strong lineup, I think.
There isn't a bad lineup. Well, maybe there's one or two bad lineups in GTD, but it's very few and far between. But we come to a very exciting entry that I'm really looking forward to, which is
same here.
The number 58, a Wright Motorsports Porsche 911 GT3R of Patrick Long, Christina Nilsson, Robert Wenauer, and Matthew Jaminet. I mean, all Porsche talent there, and two-time defending GTD champion, Christina Nilsson in a factory Wright Motorsports Porsche. I mean, what more do you need, really?
Yeah, that's going to be fun to watch.
Speaking of Porsches, there's the number 59 Manside Racing, Porsche 911 GT3R. Steve Smith, Randy Walls, Harold Prochik, Sven Mueller, and Matteo Carioli. Mostly an AM entry. We'll see how well they do.
Although Mueller did win, I believe Mueller, was he? No, it was Christensen who was in the Allegra car last year from memory.
Yeah, Christensen was in the Allegra car. But like I said, we'll see how the Manti car does, because it's basically a
I mean, with
entry
yeah, although
with
having
two
said
factory
that,
drivers. But
yeah, Mueller and Cairoli are both exceptionally fast drivers, so I think that car could be quite high up the grid as well.
yes, but going to the number 63, used to be my favorite GTD car, but now I just simply can't be bothered, really.
I mean, it's got 3 good drivers in it: Alessandro Balzan, Gunnar Jeanette, and Jeff Siegel. And
yeah, but you're missing the piece de resistance, which is just
Is his name Mini Cooper?
might as well be. Yes.
Well, Mini, I wouldn't call him Mini. He's quite tall from what I've heard.
That's the joke, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, he's Mini Cooper in the sense that he's 6 something, but yeah, it's Cooper.
And Alessandro Balzan's 5 foot, not very much, apparently.
Yes. But it's the number 63 Scuderia Corsa Ferrari 48 GT3 of Cooper McNeil, Alessandro Balzan, Gunnar Jeanette, Jeff Siegel. It's a pretty looking car. It's got WeatherTech on it. It's nice and pretty, but
Cooper McNeil's
Deal
driving
in it, and I can't be bothered, so I'm just expecting him to complain about BOP, come Road America, and I don't know. But
and then try and switch to a Porsche, and then get told by Imogen, no, you have to stick with a Ferrari, and then
Ferrari,
just throw a tantrum
made a
and
rule about it. Yeah.
yes, to stop you from deliberately changing cars, you idiots.
Yes, but going to the actual Scuderia Corsa car that's looking forward to, which is in red, because all Scuderia Corsa cars should be in red.
Exactly.
Which
Defined by law.
Defined by Ferrari law, really. The number 64 of Bill Sweedler, Townsend Bell, Frankie Montecalvo, and one Mr. Sam Bird.
Yes, that's interesting that Sam Bird's in that car, but then again,
Last
with him
minute addition.
Yes, I mean, Frankie Montecalvo, he's no slouch behind the wheel. Townsend Bell, former GTD class champion, Le Mans class winner, Petit Le Mans class winner, IndyCar driver and commentator, supreme, yep. And Bill Sweedler, for my money, is up there with Paul Dalla Lana in terms of bloody fast bronze-graded drivers. So,
yes,
they could be dark horses in this class, actually.
Well, you say that. I was just about to mention probably actually, I will say this. My contender for, or my entry for dark horse of the race is the number 69 Hart Racing, or actually the number 69 Hart, because it's not Hart Racing, it's Hart, H-A-R-T, Acura NSX GT3 of Chad Gilsinger, Ryan Eversley, Sean Rahal, and John Fault.
Yes, and
yes, Hart being Honda of America racing team.
I was just about to mention that's the racing team run by and staffed entirely by employees of Honda America.
Yes, some of them being people who actually work on the road car line of the NSX. So, yeah.
It's kind of similar to Synchro Motorsports here in the UK, run by the Honda UK staff.
Yes, but this one's quite a bit older than that entry.
And has, I mean,
Hart goes back all the way to the founding of Acura, really.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Racing Integras and whatnot in various series.
And the original NSX as well, I believe.
Yes. Along with World Time Racing. But, yes, they are my dark horse for the race. Ryan Eversley and a Acura NSX GT3 is just pretty exciting combination. Yeah.
I mean, Sean Rahal's no slouch at all. John Fowles a quick bronze driver.
Chad Gilsinger is fast as well. Yes. So it's a dark horse for sure. And now we come to the Chupacabra.
Yes.
Which is the number 71.
Viva la Chupacabra.
Yes. The number 71 P1 Motorsports Mercedes-AMG GT3 of Kenton Cook, Robbie Foley III, Laura Spinelli, and JC Perez. Robert Foley being a graduate of the Mazda Road to 24. And so is Kenton Cook.
Very nice livery.
In a very lovely Andy Blackmore livery.
Yes. Not the only Andy Blackmore livery as well.
I think a third of the grid's an Andy Blackmore car, but yeah. The number 71 is very pretty. It's a Tequila Patron Endurance Cup entry, and we'll see how that one does. That's the only one that's probably unsure in the GTD and my book. But yeah, the 73 Park Place Motorsports Porsche 911 GT3R is also only a North American Endurance Cup entry for Patrick Lindsay, Jörg Bergmeister, Norbert Siedler, and Tim Pappas. It's a strong lineup, but we'll see how they do. We go to the Sun Energy One Racing, number 75, a Mercedes-AMG GT3.
Could be on pole, I think.
Kenny Habel, Thomas Jaeger, Mauro Engel, and Michael Grenier, who I've never heard of.
Neither have I, although then again, Mauro, he legitimately could put that thing on pole position. Oh, that's what I'm going to say.
Yes. The number 82, which is a surprise entry to GTD, is the second Risi Competizione entry, the Ferrari 40 GT3 of Miguel Molina, Ferrari factory driver, Ricardo Perez de Lara, Martin Fuentes, Santiago Krill, and Matt Griffin, also Ferrari factory driver. Another strong lineup. We'll see how they do. First time Risi's in a GT3 car, so really interesting to see how they do. And now we get to the very, very cool
yes.
Acura NSX GT3s of Michael Schenk Racing with Curb Agajanian. The 86 being Catherine Legg, Alvaro Parent, Trent Hindman, and AJ Allmendinger. Yes. And the number 93 bearing Justin Marks, Lawson Aschenbach. Let's try that one again. Lawson Aschenbach. There we go. Mario Farnbacher and Komi Ledegar. So, strong lineups in the
very
Schenk cars. What could possibly go wrong there?
Yes.
Yes, and finally, rounding out the entry list for the Rolex 24 at Daytona is the number 96 Turner Motorsport with the lovely Andy Blackmore liveried Liqui-Moly BMW M6 GT3 of Jens Klinkman, Martin Tomczyk.
Tomczyk.
There you go. Mark Vame, Don Yonts, and
Cameron Lawrence.
Yes, one Mr. Cameron Lawrence, who is a former Rolex 24 winner.
Yes, I think Cameron Lawrence was only announced in the last couple of days as well. So
I believe he was announced yesterday.
Oh, God.
Very last minute.
Yeah. Lawrence, Klingman, and Tomczyk, I think, are going to be providing the real pace in that car.
Yeah, but don't count out Mark Vame. He's a stealth AM driver. He's pretty handy behind the wheel of a car. I would not count him out.
No, not at all. And that, dear listener, brings us to the end of the entry list.
And it only took us about an hour.
This is Rolex 24 at Daytona.
A 50-car entry list and a stacked entry. I don't see the problem in that, really. That just means it's a good entry.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it, actually.
It's like I said to Forza, I think I mentioned it over DM. I haven't been this stoked and this psyched for a 24-hour race in some time.
Well, I have been interestingly. In fact, I still am, and that's the 24 Hours of Silverstone this year, mainly because I'm going to it, I expect. So, but apart from that, yeah, this is definitely one of the big ones.
For sure, the big one. And do not ask me to pick a favorite because I have no idea.
Oh no, me neither.
Me neither.
A handful of cars you go, ooh, that one's interesting. Ooh, that one's interesting. Ooh, that one's really interesting. And then by the time you're done,
yeah.
Oh, that one could do very well. Oh, that one could do very well. You'll end up with a list like the whole entry list. You'll just be like, I pick everyone.
If you want to pick a favourite, go down to the local pub, find a dartboard, throw 3 darts at the dartboard. Whatever score you get, Whichever car number it's closest to, that's the favourite.
Well, doesn't that mean it's going to be one of the really high numbers?
No, you could throw low numbers if you're as bad as I am.
Yeah, but you aren't the lowest
If you're
numbers
really
something
bad, you can
like
miss the dartboard altogether.
the lowest numbers are something like 60. So I don't know.
If you hit treble 20.
I don't
which
know
is
much.
the highest.
Okay. I really don't know much about darts.
I think the lowest one can score in darts is 3 single ones.
Oh, you can get ones? I thought they came in sets of 20. Never mind. That just proves how much I know about darts. Not enough engine. They need more power to it. They should attach engines to the darts. Give them wheels.
Right. Okay.
Drive them around Daytona.
Now I leave for like a second, and you're talking about car darts. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't Top Gear do something like that?
Yes, they did, with a very, 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 very powerful nitrogen compressed air cannon
I'm
and some
going
old bangers in a caravan.
I'm going to cut you off because we went a bit over on talking about the Rolex 24, but
it's justified. Because
yes,
Rolex
it is justified.
24.
Because Rolex 24, yes. We won't be a bit much longer, so just bear with us while I bring up a thing. There were some announcements on legends, as far as I'm concerned, of the sport doing notable things this weekend. That was one of them is my broadcasting hero that anyone in the U.S. who watched Speed in the early days when it was on until the end when they closed and became Fox. Is that Dave Despain has retired after 4 decades of broadcasting, and anyone who knows who he is, I just don't have to describe his body of work. It's legendary on its own. But for those who haven't seen him or aren't familiar with his work, just go search out Dave Despain on YouTube. There'll be clips of Wind Tunnel, particularly Wind Tunnel, an amazing piece of journalism that was Wind Tunnel and his interviews there. But he's retiring after 4 decades of broadcasting, and he did it in style by covering the Chili Bowl that was a couple of weeks ago, and went out after that on his last race. So it was very classy of him to do it that way. Also, Sir Sterling Moss has stepped away from public life at the age of 88, which is a well-deserved retirement, finally. Quite frankly, after he stopped racing, he was still a public figure. But
well, I tell you what, he was still racing until quite recently in classic races. So
yeah, he retired in 2011 from racing. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, he was a public figure, so he's stepping away finally from public life. And Al Unser Jr. will be returning to Pikes Peak after almost 30 years away from it. And also on Pikes Peak, Bentley will be sending a Bentayga up the hill.
Oh my word, incredible!
Yes. Not a race Bentayga before you all get very excited. It's just a normal Bentayga, but it'll be the exhibition class for road cars, I believe. But still, a Bentayga will be going up Pikes Peak.
What can possibly go wrong?
Well, nothing really.
I seem to remember.
Again, SUVs do handle quite well.
I seem to remember that Top Gear and Bentley, bringing up Top Gear again, did something quite similar a few years ago with the Wales Rally. They sent James May around in a Bentley Continental, didn't they?
Well, he was the co-driver to
Chris
Meek.
Awful at it, but yeah, it was Chris Meek.
And Chris Meek is a damn fine pair of hands behind the wheel.
Of course.
But one news item that I mentioned and I went, ooh, while it was happening was that we were wondering what Continental Tire would be doing after they were forced out of IMSA through no fault of their own, just by the fact that Michelin has
a lot more money.
Yes. Just announced, fresh off the presses from Continental Tire themselves, is that they will be in a multi-year partnership with Red Bull Global Rallycross. And it will start this season. They will be the exclusive tire provider for the supercars, GRC lights, and the new Polaris RZR categories. in addition to the new electric rallycross cars that are coming in 2019. So there you go. They will be marketing in a different series.
Jolly good.
Yes, jolly good indeed. And on that note, we do thank you for bearing with our ramblings for a bit, as we tend to be a bit long-winded, but that's why you guys like us. So we shall stop wasting your time now.
And also, we have merch.
Yes, we do.
Oh, yes. I'll be remiss if I didn't mention that. There is GTHub merchandise for those of you who want one, and there will be a link in the description when this is reposted for those who want one. So seek out that merchandise, please, because we need the money for stuff, and Kazuo knows why. But yes, on that note, we can end. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.